Recently, someone who I work with felt like they had lost a lot of the ground they had made in their trauma healing journey. Many of us wonder, why does healing sometimes work and then feel like it disappears? We can have a very powerful session and feel lighter and clearer and more regulated, and then days and weeks later, the old patterns can return. And this doesn't mean that the work failed or that ground that we felt we had achieved is gone. It means that the nervous system hasn't stabilized the change fully yet. Durable healing requires two things working together: repetition and rest. The brain stabilizes change through repeated experience in a regulated state, followed by periods of integration and consolidation. Neuroplasticity unfolds in phases. A new experience disrupts an old prediction. The nervous system experiments with a different response. That response must be revisited enough times to become familiar to the nervous system. And then the system needs time to rest so that the new learning can settle. So without repetition, the new pathway remains fragile. Without rest, the nervous system cannot consolidate what it has learned. Repetition does not mean grinding or pushing. From a nervous system perspective, repetition means returning to safety again and again, practicing regulation in small doses, choosing presence in familiar situations, meeting old triggers with slightly different responses, and allowing the body to experience this is survivable. And we need to do this over and over again. Each repetition strengthens the synaptic connections that support regulation, flexibility, choice, emotional tolerance, and relational openness. Over time, the brain begins to predict safety more easily. The nervous system is highly efficient. It builds around what happens most often, not what happens once. And this is why long-standing patterns feel automatic. It's because the survival strategies persist even when they're no longer needed. Repetition recruits the same learning systems that built the original survival pattern. And change becomes durable when a new experience is repeated long enough to be recognized as reliable. Along with repetition, rest is critical for neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is an active biological process, and during rest, the synaptic connections are strengthened or pruned. Memory traces are reorganized, emotional learning integrates, and the nervous system recalibrates baseline arousal. This is why overanalyzing or constantly working on ourselves can actually interfere with healing. The nervous system needs space to absorb what it has learned. Many nervous systems learned early on that vigilance equals safety, that effort equals survival. When rest becomes possible without collapse or guilt, the nervous system receives a powerful signal. I don't have to stay on guard to survive. In EMDR, durable change emerges not from a single session, but from repeated access to adaptive information and consistent nervous system regulation. Neuroplastic change becomes durable when new experiences are rehearsed gently and then allowed to settle. Repetition teaches the nervous system this is reliable. Rest teaches the nervous system what is safe. Together, they allow healing to stay in the nervous system. Do you have a question or comment? I'd love to continue the conversation about how rest and repetition are critical for neuroplastic change.